Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing something that is not fun to discuss: money. So basically IVF is very expensive, which you all know. So I'm going to break down everything cost-wise that we got. Your fertility clinic will probably be very different than ours. And that does not include driving up there because our clinic is not in town. It does not include acupuncture. It doesn't include anything like that. Any extra stuff that you do on the side, it does not include any of that. No supplements, nothing. So this is just for this clinic. So at first you have a new patient lab charges. So that total comes to $959 for just the labs. Just the labs as a new patient. Then you have a new patient ultrasound, and that comes to $456. The new office visit, which is like the consultation, is $524. You have the ovarian function test, which is later on, day 3 ultrasound and labs, is $587, and that includes FSH, E2, LH, and an ultrasound. Those break down to $110, $165, $110, and $202, which equals $587. This is intimidating, I know, and I'm not even all the way through it, and reading off all these numbers gives me a little bit of anxiety. So then you have an assessment of the uterus and the fallopian tubes. That is like the with the saline solution and stuff like that. That's $2,891. The clinic charges $391 and the hospital charges $2,500 is what it says. Then you have, for the male side of it, they have to do a semen analysis, and they also have to do an SCSA, which I'm guessing is the blood draws and stuff like that, because they also have to do an infectious disease panel, and so that comes to $320. With the semen analysis is $175, and the SCSA with the drug panel is $320. So then you actually come to the costs of the IVF cycle, because all of that is just to start off with. And I should add up that number, and that will be inserted here. So then you have the actual cost of the IVF cycle, and you have different choices, because you can either do it with genetic testing or without genetic testing, and they have varying costs. So they gave us 2 different sheets for with and without. So first I'm going to go over I'll do them at the same time actually, because that will kind of help to know and understand the cost differential between the two. So at first they look pretty similar. So the required tests prior to IVF are similar. So you have the saline infused sonogram, or the SIS, and that is $934 for both. Then you have the trial embryo transfer, TET, and that is $372 for both. Then you have the male IVF essay and freeze, so sperm analysis and freeze, which is $475, not including what they did the first day, which is the $175 plus the $320 that he did already. Then the IVF cycle starts, and you start with the baseline ultrasound. They do follicular monitoring for up to 5 visits. If you have more, then it's going to cost more. But for that amount, it's $3,160. Then you have the egg retrieval, which is $1,828, and that is the same for both. Then you have the fertilization process, which again is the same for both. Okay, if you are doing just the IVF cycle without genetic testing, then your fertilization process includes the ICSI, which is the sperm, taking one sperm and putting it into the egg, as well as the freezing and the storage of the embryos. However, if you do the genetic testing, then it does not cover that price. It's just the fertilization process. and that fee is $6,250. Then this is where it changes it up a little bit. If you are doing genetic testing, then you have a biopsy fee, which is $2,200. Then you have the embryo transfer, which if you're doing no genetic testing, that's $1,569. Whereas if you are doing the genetic testing, it includes the estimated monitoring charges, thawing, embryo prep, and transfer, which equals a grand total of $4,538. The amount due at the time of your baseline ultrasound, cost of a cycle, a single cycle with no genetic testing, is $12,807. If you are doing the genetic testing, it is $17,976 at the time of the baseline ultrasound. So that does not include any of the following, which are medications, because you have to stimulate yourself in order to be ready. So the medications here, they have ranging from $2,500 to $5,000. Then you have a lab for the female, which is $394 for both, and the male lab for $236. So that's totaling $630 for labs. Then you have the anesthesia, which for both is $350. And then, so that is the end for just the one single cycle. The grand total for that, not including the beginning labs, is $18,068 to $20,568 for one cycle. That's one cycle of IVF with no genetic testing. And that does not include the beginning, new patient labs, and all of that information. This number includes new patient labs and all of the rest of the stuff in the beginning, the semen analysis for the first time. So then with the genetic testing, there's a couple more different costs. So you actually have the lab costs for off-site genetic testing, of course. So that is $2,200 to $3,000. And same for the medications, the $2,500 to $5,000, which is a big difference. And it says that it can exceed $5,000, which, having PCOS, I'm not exactly nervous for that because they are so worried about overstimulation. So I'm sure my medications will be less, but who knows. And then medications for frozen embryo transfer, which is the preparation for all of the embryos to be transferred in, or just, for the embryos to be transferred in, the preparation for that, to make sure that you're prepared, your body is prepared for transfer. Those can range from $400 to $800. So it's far less than the rest, but that still is a separate charge. So all of that comes together for the genetic testing for one cycle of IVF, and it comes to $25,837 to $29,537. So these vary tremendously. And of course, this is totally different from other clinics as well, because when I went to a different clinic, it was completely different and the costs were absolutely different on different levels. And so you just never know what you're gonna get. And yeah, so it's a lot. It's intense, to say the least. And fortunately for us, most of this stuff is covered by insurance. However, when I say it's covered with insurance, that does not mean that we are scot-free, because that is the exact opposite. We have to pay a deductible that's fairly high, and a out-of-pocket maximum that is fairly high. And both of those will be met with just one procedure. So that's why we started in January, to hopefully be able to do, if it doesn't work out, to be able to do more than one within the year and still have the same deductible, like just be through the deductible, so that way we can get the most help out of insurance. But I look at these numbers and I think back to when insurance was even less. And there's so many people who still don't have insurance for infertility. And that's not fair. It's not fair. And it's really like, yeah, it's very difficult because I'm so grateful that I have insurance. And I'm grateful that it's becoming more of a thing to have insurance. But not everybody has insurance, and that really hurts. Like that, I think back to when we were thinking about doing IVF for the first time, and it was so like distant on our radar because we never thought we'd have the money to do IVF. And the thought of that, it's so scary and intimidating, and yeah. So yeah, there are no words for it. So it's very expensive. This is something that I feel needs to be covered. So I'm very grateful for our insurance. I'm very grateful that we have the opportunity. Hopefully this cycle goes well. Hopefully everybody else's cycle goes well. If you are going through IVF or IUIs or any infertility process, know that my heart is with you. My prayers are with you, and we greatly accept prayers. And so I want to thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please comment down below and let me know what you have, and I'd be happy to answer them. And yeah, I think that's it. This video sucks to make because it sucks. It's so expensive, and talking about it makes it even more real, and it's coming up fast, and so it's scary. But anyways, I will thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Boo!